Hi, Glenell. How you doing? All right. So I've got your work up. I was reading your writing here, and I see that you have shortened the verbiage a little. That's great. That gives you a little more real estate to work with, right? So I think that was a very effective decision. Nice job there. I've gone back and watched the videos, and they're a big help. So definitely, yeah, definitely want to keep abreast with those videos. I mean, they show you exactly how to do the assignment. So I think it's really makes a lot of sense to get in there and take a look at those videos once, twice, maybe even three times till it sinks in, right? All right, let's go ahead and jump over to the work. I've got your banner ad and your magazine ad up. And let's go ahead and take a look at the magazine ad. So I think the magazine ad, there's a couple of things that really stand out. The first thing is the size and orientation of the magazine ad. So let me just zoom out here a little bit to fit that in the window. So we can see that this doesn't look like it will fit in a magazine. And the reason it looks like that is because it's not formatted to 8.5 by 11. So typically the width of the measurement always comes first. Okay, so 8.5 by 11 would indicate an 8.5 inch width and an 11-inch height. So this is formatted, and let me just go to image size, and we can see that this is formatted at 11 by 8.587, which is kind of an unusual size there. So you would want to keep that at 8.5 by 5 or 8.5 by 11, but it's 8.5 width, not height. This would mean that the whole magazine was oriented horizontally. And as we know, most magazines are, being that this assignment is indicative of a traditional standard magazine ad, we would want to format this at 8.5 inches wide by 11 inches high. The next thing I think the next most obvious thing I think is the logo is really super distorted. And that comes, let me show you what I'm talking about here. I'll just open up the logo from, let me see, where do I have? I'll just open up the PDF of the logo right here. And that should open in 1 second. In the meantime, the logo is distorted, and that typically is a result of placing the logo and then resizing the logo. Now, when you place the logo and you resize it, you make sure you want to hold your shift key down. So you would select it, you would grab the corner bounding box, hold your shift key down, then resize it. And that will constrain the original proportions. Another thing I see is that this magazine ad is compiled in Photoshop, where the requirements indicate that the magazine should be compiled in Illustrator. That's a critical factor right there. I don't recommend placing boxes behind your type. I recommend incorporating the type right in the composition. If for a good example of how to do that, please go ahead and take a look at those examples over in the course announcements. Let's jump over to your banner ad. So I think the banner ad is a good depiction. It's a good crop from the original image. But the one thing, and let me just reduce the size here so we can see everything. So there's a couple of things that we don't have the masked image from assignment 2-1. Remember, that's required to be included in this composition. So we need to include that masked image, or if you don't want to include that masked image, some masked image needs to be included in this composition. We also see distortions in the logo here, and I wanted to open that up so you can see what I mean. Okay, here's this logo. Okay, take a look at that and compare it to the size and shape of this logo. So as we can see, this one is like really, really short and wide, and this one is not. Take a look at the shapes right here. So that's clear indication that the logo has been distorted, and we can see the same thing here. This logo has also been distorted, indicating that upon placement you should hold that shift key down while resizing the logo. Okay, another thing I notice here is that there's no animations. Remember, this assignment requires text animations for the call to action only, so that would be the 50% off. That needs to be animated. We got to get that animated. In terms of hierarchy, typically think of a newspaper. The headline's the largest, then the subhead is smaller. So I would recommend reducing the size of the subhead, bringing it up just a little bit closer to the headline. All right, and then my only other final recommendation is to include the client's location somewhere in here. You don't have to include the entire contact information, because viewers know if they click on this banner, it's going to take them, it's going to act as a URL, taking them right to the client's website where all pertinent information is readily available. But the location could quite feasibly be the deciding factor as to whether a viewer clicks on this or not. So I highly recommend including the location somewhere. Maybe even right down near located in U.S. Virgin Islands or something like that. Okay, all right, those are my recommendations, and I would like to see you. We're wrapping it up here really quick here, so Renee. So, I mean, it's next week, week 7, this campaign is due next week. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. But there seems to be a little bit of work here to do to get this ready for submission. So please allow me to help you. If you need help, I'll be more than glad. And as questions come up, please let me know. Now, if you want to make these changes and resubmit to this forum, please go right ahead, and I'll be glad to make additional comments before the week ends on Sunday. But at the very least, I'd like to see these changes reflected in your final advertising campaign. All right? Thank you very much.